Lewis Uvvo might be the most interesting prospect in the entire 2027 recruiting class. And it's not just because he's nearly 7 feet tall with arms that seem to cover the entire paint. It is because 3 years ago, this kid was not even a basketball player. He had not spent his childhood traveling around the country for AAU tournaments. He was not working with private trainers at 8 years old. He did not grow up with recruiting rankings, highlight pages, and college coaches watching his games. Uvvo grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, and did not begin seriously playing basketball until he was 15 years old. By that point, he was already around 6'8", but his height had mostly been something he used in everyday life. One of his best stories is that he would help people at supermarkets by reaching things on the top shelf. He joked that he was not calling anybody short, he was simply there if they needed some help. Then his bicycle broke down one day, his route changed, and he came across people playing basketball. That random moment helped lead him toward the sport that could eventually change his life. There are 5-star recruits who have spent almost their entire lives preparing to reach this level. Uvvo went from barely knowing the game to becoming one of the best high school defenders in America in about 3 years. That is the first thing that makes his story different. We are not looking at a finished player who has already been trained for a decade. We are looking at somebody who is still learning, yet he is already dominating some of the best young players in the country. Uvvo entered the NBA Academy Africa system, where he started learning the basic parts of being a real center. It was not only about blocking shots because he was taller than everybody. He had to learn how to run the floor, set screens, catch the ball in traffic, defend without fouling, and understand where he needed to be on every possession. His progress was extremely fast. Uvvo eventually moved to the United States and joined Prolific Prep, one of the most talented high school programs in the country. His first season did not immediately turn him into a star. He spent much of the year playing for the program's second team and had a smaller role while adjusting to a completely different level of basketball. That could have frustrated him. He had already traveled across the world, joined a loaded program, and probably knew what his physical talent could become. But he still had to wait, work, and prove that he could handle the speed of the American game. Then he joined Knight Riders Elite for his first full AAU season, and everything changed. At the beginning of the spring, Uvvo was viewed as a talented but raw project. He was ranked closer to the bottom of the national top 100 than the top 10. A few months later, he had become a 5-star prospect, the number 6 player in the country, and the number 1 center in the 2027 class. That rise happened because his defense became impossible to ignore. During one of his early EYBL stretches, he blocked 17 shots across 2 games. He was not doing this against weak competition or small local teams. He was protecting the rim against some of the best guards and forwards in high school basketball. Then he went to Peach Jam and proved the breakout was real. Over 7 games, Uvvo averaged 11 points, 9.4 rebounds, and 6 blocks. 6 blocks per game at Peach Jam is ridiculous. These are elite prospects who know how to finish, use both hands, draw fouls, and attack bigger defenders. Uvvo was still erasing possessions at a rate that looked almost unfair. His biggest performance came against Team Herro when he finished with 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 blocked shots. He came 1 rebound away from recording a triple-double with blocks. People sometimes look at block totals and assume a tall player is simply waiting underneath the basket and swatting shots from smaller players. That is not what makes Uvvo special. His timing is real. He does not have to jump at every pump fake. He watches the ball, waits for the offensive player to commit, and then explodes toward the shot. His reported wingspan is around 7'7". That allows him to recover even when he is slightly late. A guard can think he has created enough space for Uvvo's arm to appear at the last second and knock the ball away. He also gets off the ground quickly. Some young centers need time to bend their knees and load up before jumping. Uvvo does not. He can challenge the first shot, land, and immediately jump again to contest the rebound. That second effort is one of the reasons he creates so many blocks in crowded areas. I do not think I have seen a shot blocker this good at this age since Anthony Davis, who to me is the best shot blocker I have ever seen. That does not mean I am saying Lewis Uvvo is going to become Anthony Davis. Davis had a much more advanced offensive game, guard skills from his growth spurt, and a level of overall talent that made him the clear #1 pick. This is specifically a comparison to the way they protect the rim and take away shots that appear to be open. Davis did not only block shots at Kentucky, he changed the entire decision of the offensive player. Guards would get into the lane, see him waiting, and immediately understand that the shot they normally took was no longer available. Uvo is beginning to create that same feeling. Some of his best defensive possessions do not appear in the box score because the opponent never takes the shot. A guard turns the corner, sees Uvo, and dribbles back outside. Another player drives toward the rim and throws a desperate pass because he does not want to challenge him. That is how a great shot blocker can control a game without touching the ball. Uvo is also more mobile than most young players with his size and length. He can move outside the paint, show against the ball screen, and recover to the basket. He is not ready to defend elite college guards one-on-one for an entire game, but he does not look lost when he is pulled away from the rim. He can turn his hips, cover ground, and get back into the play. That matters because college offenses will try to drag him outside. They will use shooting centers, ball screens, and quick passes to make him defend more than the area directly around the basket. His attitude may be just as impressive as his physical ability. Uvo genuinely appears to enjoy playing defense. After blocking a shot, he sometimes laughs, smiles, or lets out a loud celebration before running back down the floor. If he can become a reliable decision-maker and make defenders respect one short-range shot, his offensive ceiling changes completely. That is what makes John Calipari and Arkansas such an interesting fit. Calipari has coached this type of player before. Anthony Davis arrived at Kentucky as an elite defensive prospect and became the #1 pick in the 2012 NBA draft. Nerlens Noel followed him, became one of the best shot blockers in college basketball, and was selected 6th in 2013. Willie Cauley-Stein developed into an elite mobile defender and was taken 6th in 2015. Those three players were different from each other, but they all had the length, mobility, and defensive ability to change a game without needing 20 shots. All three created real wealth for their families through basketball, and that part of Calipari's pitch could matter to Uvo. This is a young man who came from Nigeria, discovered basketball late, and has already watched a sport completely change the direction of his life. Calipari can sit across from him and show proof that he has helped players with similar physical tools become top draft picks. Calipari's former players have now signed NBA contracts worth more than $6 billion combined. He has coached 44 first-round picks and 30 lottery selections. Players such as Davis, John Wall, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, Bam Adebayo, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander have created generational wealth through basketball. The Arkansas pitch would probably be direct. Uvo would not be asked to become something he is not on his first day. Protect the basket, rebound, sprint the floor, set hard screens, catch lobs, play with energy. Then the staff could slowly add to his offense instead of overwhelming him. Calipari has often simplified the game for young centers. When he had Davis and Noel, Kentucky could push perimeter defenders toward the paint because they trusted the big man behind them. That allowed those centers to become the foundation of the entire defense. Arkansas could do the same thing with Uvo. Guards could apply more pressure on the outside because they would know one of the best shot blockers in the country was protecting them. His recruitment is still open. Duke, Kentucky, Arkansas, BYU, Kansas, and Texas are among the major programs involved, and there is not enough reliable information to call anybody a clear favorite. The most exciting part is that nobody knows how good Lewis Uvwo can become. He has been playing basketball for only a few years. He has already gone from prolific prep second team to the #6 player in America. He has already gone from being viewed as a raw project to averaging 6 blocks at Peach Jam.
Most prospects ranked around him have been training for this moment since childhood. If his offense ever begins catching up with his defense, we may eventually stop talking about him as only the best center in the 2027 class. We could be talking about one of the best players in the class, one of the top picks in the 2028 NBA draft, and one of the most unbelievable development stories basketball has seen in a long time.